A YouTuber named The Modern Mombi is sipping her coffee while pumping gas while she notices someone watching her get into her car. She lets it slide until she sees him looking at her again.
But yeah, he keeps peeping us.
She is making a video probably in the hopes that it will make him too ashamed to continue, but he looks straight at her and seems to smirk. It's a weird and creepy expression that he has no excuse to keep making if they are strangers. Maybe he thinks he recognizes her, but if that were the case, staring at her instead of saying hello is rude and suspicious to say the least. Then again, maybe the camera is the only thing keeping him from being more intrusive. He eventually gets in the car and drives away. That's when she realizes she's in her work uniform and hopes he won't be staring at her sometime soon at her job. If a tree falls on you in the forest and no one is around to hear you scream, do you make a sound? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Essex Haunted, the Redditor explains that in Puckley, Kent, UK, there is a forest known as Daring Woods, otherwise known as the Screaming Woods. Legend has it, those who have passed there haunt the place with their screams. Although Essex posted only a personal pic, he linked to a video of said forest, which was published to YouTube in September of 2016 by LC Play Z. In the distance, you can really hear horrifying screaming from the depths of the forest.
One more dice. Should we scream back at her?
The man in the video asks if they should scream back, and maybe that's just what this is. Live people having screaming matches back and forth at each other from opposite sides of the woods. Or maybe, like the Redditor suggests, there's another natural explanation. Responding to whether it could be some species of wild cat, Essex writes, more likely to do with the ways the trees are very closely grown and the wind, although in a later comment he adds, I've spent 3 nights there. In the last 2 months filming, some of the noises are just, well, hard to explain. According to Essex Ghost Hunters, the village of Puckley nearby is also one of the UK's most haunted ghost towns. So, nature or ghosts, do you have a better explanation for this screaming? This driver records a potentially supernatural highway encounter that leaves him speechless and terrified. According to the driver, this person was missing their head. Look again and you'll see it does look like they have no head, but it's probably just the way the headlights overpower the camera. There's just one thing though, even when they do get past the headlights, it still appears as if there is nothing above their shoulders. Schwinn Protocol wants to remodel his dreary basement, which only has a dirt floor. After digging many layers down, he finds this rusty old entranceway that presumably extends even deeper. He doesn't really have a good feeling about this at all, but he needs to know everything about the basement before he can get the job done, so he has to see for himself what's on the other side. He lifts the heavy cement plug, and white orbs soon follow, though I guess they could also be dust particles. Either way, he is puzzled to find a wide cavern filled with darkness. As his light traces along the rough edges of the floor, he slowly begins to piece together some unnerving observations out loud.
That's probably about a 13 or 15 foot drop. So definitely a bigger person wouldn't be able to fit down there. Wouldn't even be able to fit a ladder down there though,
So basically, this is a deep hole with an entrance that's too small for an adult, but just the right size to squeeze through a child. I'm not sure what this was really used for, but I do agree that it's weird to have a random hole in your basement that's easy to fall into and tough, if not impossible, to get out. To be fair, the YouTuber later wrote in the description that he thinks it was part of a drainage system that's no longer in use. Maybe he's right, or maybe he's just trying to explain something that he wishes he never saw. Someone could have spent their entire childhood down there for all we know. Skiers beware, sometimes the snowbank is deeper than it appears. Posted to Instagram by Chris J. Fish. This GoPro video shows viewers what it's like to avalanche yourself. The skier is seen traveling over a snowy hill between two trees followed by some rocky crags. After overtaking the rocks, he immediately drops feet down into the snow. He is seen frantically trying to dig himself out. After what seems like an eternity, he spots a glimmer of sky above, as someone on the surface is also digging frantically to pull him to safety. Chris says this is the first time he's been completely buried. He writes in the comments, "I started to panic a bit as soon as I inhaled a whole bunch of snow. My entire throat and mouth were full and definitely had a bit in my lungs." He goes on to explain that his friend was staged nearby to rescue him if this happened, which anyone who's skiing across unknown territory should do. Did this scary event stop him from future skiing? Nope. He writes that as soon as his breathing returned, he was off again. Chris asked if we would include this PSA. He writes, "The rule to dropping from big cliffs into bottomless powder. Have someone close by to dig you out if you get buried." I'm thinking I'll stick to the bunny hill. Published to YouTube by Proving Demons in May of 2020. You might want to call your local exorcist after watching this video. The uploader explains that the house they entered is known to have been the site of an exorcism, and they were exploring it to capture paranormal activity. He writes, "While experiencing heavy poltergeist activity, I could feel the demon inside trying to possess me as it did the previous owner, who is now insane in a mental institution. From that point, our ghost hunt took a turn for the worst. Let's take that turn with them." After hiking up to the abandoned building and entering through a crawl hole, the crew finds the inside looks like a surreal art shed. Colorful paper lanterns hang, arrows are pointing every which way, all natural light in the place is framed by gothic windows. At first, the general aura of the place is curious rather than creepy. There are lots of scraps of paper posted to a board, a large map, a guitar hanging on one wall. As one YouTuber, Lavender Rainbow, points out, there's a pamphlet on the wall. Later in the clip at 16 minutes 29 seconds that reads, "Bipolar Disorder Survival Guide." So maybe the person living here was trying to seek psychiatric help. You find yourself wishing you were there, so you might examine things up close and learn more. But then the crew hears a woman screaming. They head towards a back room, with one of the dudes mentioning that they hadn't even made sure they were alone in this building. In fact, the building looks very lived in, not abandoned. There's what looks like a bed in the next room with blankets on it, a full backpack beside it, clothes hanging. Are they alone? He continues into the next room, hearing others inside, but it turns out just to be his own crew. You can hear a lot of sounds and things moving, like there are animals on the roof. Next, the door closes behind him by itself. They use the EVP to see if anyone's there in the home with them. The quick reply is yes. They also hear the words demon, as well as a warning, "Get out now." The demon tells them they have no right to be there. Andrew says he's starting to feel affected and his hands are shaking. And moments later, something falls off the shelf. Even scarier are the Polaroids that they find of what appears to be an authentic exorcism or ritual of some sort. What do you think went on in this makeshift cathedral of a home? A possession? Would you feel comfortable in the demon's skin? Shadowbug. After receiving an alert on his phone, Redditor Django Crutch is wondering if this is a shadow figure or a bug. Take a look.
Right there. What the f***?
The shadow-like creature shifts upward through the Redditor's yard and then disappears off screen. Of course, Redditors have their theories. By the way it moves, I'd agree it's most likely a bug on the lens. But it could also be that evil is trespassing. If I were this Redditor, I would be exercising a high degree of caution. Number 7. Have you ever met an angry shadow? You're about to. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Sensitive Chart 6221. This scary video was captured in Amarillo, Texas, as the Redditor and his friends were exploring. The footage shows the group walking down the hallway of an abandoned hospital. Watch the doorway at the end of the hall. You can see a dark figure around the corner. It moves out of view as they pass, but it's not clear if that's because the cameraman is veering left or the figure physically hides itself. The right side door also seems to fall closed. A moment later, you hear a strange groan or growl.
Yeah, look down on me.
Some in the comments think it sounds like an animal. Others think that the dark figure is just the shadow of the dude in the white shirt. Or could the shadow figure be growling at these intruders? I'm gonna go with that as my guess. Erwin Saunders enchants us again with these captures of a folkloric woodland creature. Published in October of 2021, Erwin was searching for another creature when he caught this one unexpectedly near a small waterfall. The creature flits quickly into view, too fast to see clearly.
Oh!
It makes a reappearance again later, but it still moves too fast for the human eye.
Who's gonna guard? Yeah.
Some in the comments note that in slow motion, the creature appeared to have a big head and bat-like wings. What is this thing? Is it truly a folkloric woodland creature? Because that appears to be the case. Give your haunted eyes a rub and take another look.
Go!
There's a place in Niagara Falls, known only as the Screaming Tunnel, a short pathway where a maniac father is said to have huffed out the life of his own daughter in a fit of rage, then accidentally set himself ablaze after spilling oil from his lantern and lighting a match. Ever since this terrible event, the tunnel refuses to hold a flame of any kind. Now a group of friends want to see if the legend is true. This is the first attempt.
Pause it.
At 2 minutes and 6 seconds, there's a spark with no flame. Weird, right? Well, it's about to get a whole lot weirder. With no wind at all. One of them even puts their hands in front just to make sure. They try again.
We're going through this box, dude.
Still nothing. I was thinking maybe the matches were wet or something, but no, not at all. I think this match would have stayed lit if they were anywhere but in the Screaming Tunnel. And of course, once they step outside...
You don't favor them.
Outside the tunnel, the match stays lit up.
And it's not like one of them didn't know how to light a match or something, and another one could. Whoever this is wears a necklace in both shots. It's the same person the whole time. So with this evidence in mind, the only conclusion I can come to is that the Screaming Tunnel is all too real. Horatio's wise camera captured something unexpected, a shadow figure. You don't even have to watch closely on this one. The shadow figure appears at the center of the driveway and slowly drifts upward. Well, this could be your usual suspect, a bug. I've seen a lot of bugs on the lens videos, and this one feels different. The shadow is a lot darker for starters, like the absence of light, and the way it slowly drifts is unsettling. It's safe to say that this one's no bug, it's a shadow demon. When you find a suitcase with a pentagram inside, you should probably let it be. Published by Paranormal Points in February of 2022. While looking at this mysterious collection, Maxim doesn't realize he's standing alongside evil.
Ох, ёп. Друзья, я не ошибаюсь. Это же вроде пентаграмма.
Soon the door closes at the end of the hall, and he can't open it.
Ах, черт. Я почему-то не могу ее сейчас открыть.
After he lights the pentagram, things only get stranger from there. When he asks who's there, this is the response.
Кто здесь?
And soon the demon isn't answering any more questions. What is in this basement with Maxim? And will it let him out? Is this a witch mimicking a baby's cry? Shared by Instagram accounts Paranoid Normal and Unanswered Universe. Listen closely.
¿Qué pasó?
You can hear a baby wailing, and it seems to be coming from this nearby bush. The bush shakes as the group watches tentatively, and then this happens. What is that thing? It doesn't look like any animal I've ever seen. As the group flees the scene, you can hear another bush shaking, and you can hear the baby's wail again. Is this a witch or a shapeshifter, luring them in to take their souls? I do think it's some paranormal creature, mimicking a baby's cries, but for what purpose? I'm not so sure. Saulo Brenner claims to have caught a ghost on camera at an abandoned cemetery somewhere in Brazil. Across the street is a shadow figure caught moving on tape. It looks pretty decent until you zoom in and see the ghost sighting is most likely a blur effect or a camera glitch. The date and time look messed up too, further evidence that the CCTV video has been edited and not paranormal. Are You Being Followed? Published by Musi in August of 2021, one subscriber to the channel claimed there was a paranormal forest near their house, so Musi went to investigate. This is what happened. Using a paranormal filter on his camera, Musi takes a few photos. He then goes home to develop them, or at least check them out on his laptop. He shows one of the photos of the paranormal forest without the filter. It looks completely normal, albeit a bit spooky. Note that there's no one in sight. However, the exact same landscape shot with the paranormal filter shows something different. Off to the right, a creepy and mysterious figure with dark hair and a white dress is standing in the brush. She is facing left and looking straight ahead. Another shot of the forest unfiltered again shows no one in sight, but apply the filter and the figure is there again, closer this time, and appears to be looking at Musi. Although it's hard to tell, as her face is transparent, she looks as if half of her has been erased. Musi believes this entity followed him home. If she did, what is she after? I'm guessing his soul. JP Videos is exploring a seemingly haunted abandoned house when he gets some really scary stuff caught on tape. The place has fallen into a state of disrepair, and it only gets creepier when they find rotten steps leading into the basement.
Alright, let's go down the creepy spiral staircase. Oh, got hooked.
The mattresses look to be cleaner and newer than anything else down here.
Creepy mattresses down here. It's like a partially finished basement, but just random mattresses laying around.
And the blinds are pulled closed like somebody has been sleeping here recently. Hopefully there are no strangers down here because a surprise encounter would probably not be pleasant. The basement stretches across many different rooms. JP is getting all of the hidden rooms on camera when some really scary stuff is caught on tape.
These are my favorite type of explorers too, just abandoned houses, you know, seeing contents from the former owners and just trying to imagine what took place here.
A lone crib on display in the center of the room gives him a nauseous feeling.
What? This, okay. Little creepy.
Fastened around the top is a plank of wood with other pieces of scrap wood laying nearby. When tied over the top with a rope, this crib becomes more like a cage that is too small for even a toddler to stand in. Multiple mattresses in the corner create the impression that this building has been overtaken by numerous squatters. I seriously hope no one was left to fend for themselves in that crib. No food or water, hopelessly and cruelly trapped under these two boards. These two motorists are driving around in the UK when one of them looks up in the sky and pulls over. They stare at the clouds for about 15 seconds and nothing happens. Then, just when they are about to give up, an unknown object appears immediately in front of them. It drifts into a cloud and some kind of electric reaction happens. Lightning goes off and then a weird semi-transparent rectangular object floats to the ground. The video is very low quality, so either this was taken a long time ago with a bad camera, or else it was probably edited. Either way, I must find out more about what was in that sky. Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by cardiologist Wary 306. This short clip was captured at 2:30 in the morning. The mysterious footage shows a semi-transparent figure walking from one wall of the room into what appears to be a bookcase, where it disappears. The figure looks obscure at first but grows in visibility before completing its vanishing act. The Redditor says that around 3 a.m. they often hear a conversation between a woman and a man in the bathroom. They've seen shadow people in the home, things being thrown across the room, lights have shut off, whispers in the ear. All in all, a heavy atmosphere. The activity is too much to bear. And here's yet more of it. Many in the comments believe it's a spirit manifesting. Do you believe that's the case? A YouTuber named Joseph Chansuom is absolutely positive that a ghost has been playing tricks on him, so he sets up a camera to record his apartment at night, since that's when the majority of his otherworldly interactions have occurred. It's past 1 in the morning when orbs begin to dash wildly overhead like fireflies. Then something turns on the bathroom lights and puts the faucet on full blast. Soon the door shuts by itself, and maybe it's just me, but I think I hear a really weird noise after it closes, kind of like a sigh. Listen to this and let me know if you hear it too. So anyway, Joseph wakes up after a while, and he hears the sink running. He immediately checks all around his bathroom, only to find it's completely empty. It's important to note that I didn't see any editing cuts between when the sink turned on and when he checked the room. If this is fake, it's very convincing. Here's another video of the sink on a different night, this time taken in front of a mirror to show that no one was around. Joseph eventually moved away before the paranormal tampering could escalate into something more dangerous. A YouTuber named Tret uploaded this scary moment in Russia that has people wondering what it could possibly be. He looks down a boarded up well in the middle of the forest and sees a scary face in the dark. This could be a weird creature sighting or a ghost sighting depending on how you look at it. To be more realistic though, I see the head of a turtle. The blue eyes are weird though, so maybe that's not it at all. This door manages to stay open for 5 full seconds before slowly swinging shut for some reason, and I want to know why. It's a lightweight door, so maybe his house isn't level, and that's why his door is shutting like that. Or maybe I just don't want to believe that his house is haunted after all. So is this an unlevel house or something paranormal? Clay of a paranormal YouTube channel called Time to Play TV is exploring the old Hamilton County Jail in Jasper, Florida on a ghost hunting investigation. Built in 1893, this haunted jail was in operation for 101 years. It is the resting place of many who are believed to have returned as wailing apparitions, slamming doors shut and turning on the lights. Some sections have been remodeled, and this guest bedroom is where you'll find a creepy possessed doll. As they are moving the creepy doll from its crib to the bed, a bizarre shadow goes ahead of them and disappears under the bed. Anyway, they sit her up and set up paranormal equipment to better investigate, and that's when the situation goes from strange to beyond creepy. 4 minutes and 27 seconds into the video is when they are able to convince a ghost to communicate through EVP equipment.
Are you okay with us being in this room right now?
Yes.
Yes. Another yes.
Yeah.
I don't think these EVPs are pre-recorded messages on a fake ghost hunting app because the scary voices continue to make sense and answer very specific questions in real time.
Do you know who we are? Like, can you tell us our names?
Yes.
A little ghost girl's voice says something I can't understand. And as the creepy doll moves by itself, the scary voice of a little ghost girl screams right before the doll falls over.
Oh my gosh. The doll just
That's
fell
been
down.
up for...
They sit the cursed toy upright and resume the paranormal experiment.
If that was a spirit, can you make one of the meters go off? Oh, whoa. Seen it?
What?
Look at my meter.
Many of the paranormal EVP they've caught on camera has been the voice of a child, so they logically infer that this could be a spirit of a child trapped inside of the doll.
Are you a young spirit? Are you a child? Look, you see that?
Somehow the doll creepily nods with agreement that it's possessed by a little girl, and then it presents them with some of the best paranormal evidence of the night.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was you that maybe moved the doll and did the K2 meter. Now we'd like... Whoa. Oh my... The K2 meter just fell over.
Somehow, upon the very mention of her paranormal equipment, her ghost meter, which is right by the doll's hand, falls over on its own, but the doll remains sitting up. Whatever this is, I think it's definitely paranormal and feeding off of their fearful energy.
Oh my... Play, this is so creepy. Whoa, okay.
This time they put the doll leaning back at an angle where it's impossible for it to fall forward by itself, and yet as they continue to speak, the toy leans forward and turns towards them as if making eye contact.
Who's making that doll move? Is that I am?
The more they talk, the stronger it becomes, and after a while the doll is falling clear off the bed. It's too bad that we couldn't get a wider angle to prove that the ghost hunters weren't touching anything when it fell over. I feel like Clay could have ran his hand under the pillow to make it fall over, but they sound genuinely surprised, so I doubt it. Also, this final piece of paranormal evidence is enough proof in my mind that the Hamilton County Jail is quite haunted. They wait for their equipment to register movement and get nothing until they challenge it.
Don't be shy or scared. Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Oh,
That works a lot.
oh my gosh. Whoa.
I think this is real because if you listen close, it beeps as soon as he says the word scared.
Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Oh,
A strange white mist in a messy living room in San Francisco has the YouTube community crying paranormal. Whatever this is, it seems like it heads into the light and then abruptly disappears. I've seen a lot of paranormal CCTV videos, and I've never seen anything that looks or moves like this before. It can't be dust because it has two separate parts that move as one. So tell me what you think this is. A real ghost or something else completely different? Ika Tulit Jeed is from Indonesia, and her dog is focused on something she can't see, something she thinks is paranormal. The dog's making some weird noises at something, but paranormal? Let's see.
Kayak dia ngomong sendiri. Nah, lihat. Lihat. Dia tidak tahu dia lihat apa di situ, nah. Ini nih, dia lihat di sini nih. Tidak tahu ada apa ya.
I can't say that I see anything in the corner, which is creepy, but with that said, I've seen dogs act like this when they're expecting to get a reward.
He was in the military. My father wasn't. This was taught my great friend, he was a friend of mine.
Maybe she taught her dog to hold a pose to fake this paranormal video. If so, very clever. An unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as a UAP, was captured at Dreamland in Dripping Springs, Texas, and shared by Redditor My Brian on Acid.
You doing it?
Recording the alien spaceship?
You need tip.
It's like not moving at all.
The uploader says another source reported on this same sighting.
And it's like way higher than the planes that just flew by. It's like further away. It's not moving at all.
Well, let's see if it's up there after we play.
The post the Redditor is referring to was captured by someone walking their dog who believed the UAP to be a planet, but once they looked at it through their binoculars, they noticed a dark center and a haze around the object. In the comments, Redditor Cronin Siglos appeared to crack the code, writing that it's a high-altitude balloon called an HBAL 604. After seeing one of these, I have to agree.
And it's like way higher than the planes that just flew by. It's like further away. It's not moving at all.
The power goes out and a man must go into the basement to find the circuit breaker. There's only one problem.
This is where I heard the boning at night.
Once he gets downstairs, his beam is swallowed in the darkness, and while fumbling around, he barely catches a glimpse of a pale face down there with him. And by the time he gets the flashlight to work again, it's already too late. Whatever this is a face of, ghost or otherwise, I doubt it's a mask because at 50 seconds you can see its mouth open and its smile fade away as it lunges forward. It doesn't grab him and he is able to get away, so if this is real, then it could be one of the highest resolution ghost sightings ever caught on camera to date. Kazakhstan is a country with 3 mountain regions said to hold many strange secrets. One such secret can be found by satellite on Google Earth, and it's creepy beyond belief. The lines connect to form a pentagram within a circle. No one knows why someone put such a symbol out in the middle of nowhere. It's either a hoax or an actual summoning circle right by a large body of water, which, if you believe in rituals, could be a necessary element for whatever is being cast. So let me know if you think this weird symbol was made for evil purposes or just for attention. Something tells me this was never meant to be discovered. This Colombian video from 2008 is apparently the last footage taken by 4 men that disappeared, found inside an abandoned car. The footage shows the men driving towards a strange person dressed in all white, possibly a wedding dress.
Arranca. No, despacio, haga despacio.
They slowly approach the person and attempt to drive around them, and that's where the video ends. What happens next is a complete mystery, since this was the only footage found. Skeptics have been unable to debunk this video or find the whereabouts of the disappeared men that were mentioned. It appears whoever was standing on the road that night will remain a mystery. Scary Russian dashcam video footage shows a man running away from an angry and aggressive bear. He uses his bike as a shield, but it doesn't seem to do him much good because the bear is on the verge of overpowering him when it suddenly retreats into the woods. There's no sound to this, but I'm guessing the only thing that scared this brown bear away was the car rolling up and laying on the horn. The biker was probably going to lose his life. So what could he have done better? One official working for the US National Park Service says that you should stay calm and not panic if possible. Apparently the biker should also not be backing away because that only encourages the bear to keep moving forward. Any threatening gesture like getting loud could make it angrier. There's another person down the road who is probably shouting and further agitating the bear. One New Jersey Fish and Wildlife official says that she and the other man could stand next to each other with their arms raised over their heads. Apparently 2 of them together in this position might make the bear think twice about taking them on. So while that's all well and good, I'm pretty sure that if a bear came charging at me, I am still screaming my head off. Some things are just too scary. Do you hear that haunting melody? It may be the vocalizations of an actual ghost. Posted by Charger3933 to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures a ghostly song in the abandoned Asylum, Eloise Psychiatric Hospital in Michigan, which we've discussed at length in previous top 15s. Charger notes in the comments that he did not hear the singing during the visit, only afterwards when he listened back to the recording. The Redditor was wandering around the abandoned asylum with a friend when he heard disembodied footsteps coming up the stairs. As he tried to capture the footsteps via a Snapchat video, he heard screaming from a distance. He saved the video and later heard the haunting singing as well. Redditor Wubba-Lubba-Dubbity-Doo in the comments writes, obviously we have to take the audio with a grain of salt because it's possible someone was hidden in the building. That being said, I hear the screams and sleep freaky AF. The same Redditor later notes in the thread that the uploader basically caught an EVP. He also remarks that he too hears the footsteps or something moving nearby. The uploader states that he tried to stay as still as possible, and that he would also consider this an EVP, as he did not hear the singing in real time. Redditor quite fast agrees that the singing sounds like a lullaby. The Redditor tried to isolate the woman's voice, and added a clearer clip to the thread. The humming voice sounds even spookier with the audio cleared up, and as quite fast notes, you can almost hear the words safe and sound. Do you feel safe and sound after watching this video? A YouTube channel called DIY.com decides to do some paranormal investigating at a haunted place in San Francisco called Stowe Lake. They're exploring for a while when this creepy statue comes at them from the darkness. Soon they notice that his camera seems to skip frames, or twitch as he calls it. Watch the frames skip whenever he passes over their faces.
Faster! Well, you see how it twitches?
Yeah.
The camera? Did you see that? Can you guys do that again? See? It twitches.
Twitches, yeah.
I couldn't really see what they were talking about until they address one of the children directly. That's when you can see a major frame loss that's scary enough to make one of them run away screaming.
Little girl. Oh, you see that?
You can see it again in slow motion. Freaky, right? Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Master Allen73, this Redditor wrote, "Me and my girlfriend are asleep at 3:55 a.m. when the door closes on its own. There is a door stopper holding it in place. I'm always very skeptical of the paranormal and other footage I have captured, but this one..." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some debates about this video in the comments. ASAP Rab wrote, "I'm sure you've noticed, but just after 31 seconds, there's some kind of particle or orb going straight up near the bathroom entrance. Creepy footage." And the uploader replied saying, "Honestly, I had not noticed it. I'd been concentrating on the door looking for shadows." While TCG Games wrote, "How many days do you wake up and your door is closed? Was the heater or the air conditioner on? Has this happened in the past?" And the uploader replied saying no, this was the first time in 8 months. With or without the AC running, it's never closed on its own. Can you think of any other explanation for this footage? I think there's a good chance there's a ghost also in this bedroom. A ghost hunting group called No Fear Paranormal lives up to their name while exploring a haunted cemetery with a K2 meter, a spirit box, and some recording equipment. The name of the haunted place they're exploring is the Tonopah Cemetery in Nevada. They ask it a question, but apparently whatever is nearby has only one topic on its mind.
Can you tell us how many of us are out here? How many people are in the cemetery?
A scary voice of a man comes through their paranormal equipment and calmly responds with 2 words, a demon. I'm not sure if this is a real ghost EVP or not, but the way it immediately tells them that a demon is nearby is frightening to say the least, and possibly more than a creepy coincidence. Surveillance cameras sometimes capture images you just can't handle. Posted by one Dante1 to the Sir Spook subreddit. You might want to stay inside at night after watching this clip. Dante explains that they put out trail cams because they lost their cat. While they were working out in their garage at night, they set off their motion detector and, a moment later, caught this on camera. The clip plainly shows the men working in the light of the garage. Night has fallen, and the rest of the scene is quite dark. That is, until a phantom spirit drifts into view. The vapor-like phantom has a human figure and flies in from the top right of the screen. In fact, it appears as though the figure strolls right into the frame. MuggleMad32 writes, "This is a really good capture of an apparition," while Explore with Sunny adds that it's pretty unexplainable. Is it truly unexplainable? If so, do you hold the key to the explanation? Unfortunately, this clip isn't longer, or we may have seen where this phantom is off to. Let's hope he didn't do anything to that poor cat. YouTuber Riot was putting his dogs to bed when he noticed his truck's alarm lights were blinking. The dogs also seemed upset by something. That's when he checked his Ring camera, only to find this. A strange blue object is floating across the yard. The YouTuber says he didn't see it with his own eyes. It then disappears behind a tree. Well, I wanted to dismiss this as a spiderweb at the beginning. It's harder to dismiss when it seems to move away and disappear like this. So what do you think? A spiderweb or something more cryptic? I think it's too close to call. The International Space Station is a floating research base built by NASA that orbits around the world. This footage was taken from cameras on the outside, and it has led many people to believe that NASA accidentally live-streamed alien contact on television. Everything looks normal when all of a sudden, a small number of UFOs casually travel from right to left across the screen. Stranger still is how NASA suddenly cuts away to a wide shot of the mission control room when this happens. They later claimed that the UFOs were ice particles, but perhaps there is another explanation. Zaiknikov is exploring the Bower House, an old farmhouse in West Virginia, when he catches something of interest leaning out the window. This gray specter watches over them from afar. If you still don't see it, it's looking to the left, and the lighter colored area at the bottom is its right shoulder. Don't worry, if it's too hard to see, Zake didn't see it at first either. His camera passes right over it and doesn't notice until they were already far away. I think it looks like it could be the reflection of a cloud, but at the same time I do agree it looks like it could be the spirit of a person watching them enter, and if it is, it doesn't seem pleased. These strange sounds in the sky have never been properly explained. I found no less than 5 different incidents of the exact same grinding and humming metal on metal noise. Sometimes it comes from far away, like this one from Germany. And sometimes it echoes throughout the whole city, like this one from France. And sometimes it sounds like it's breaking directly overhead, like this one from Edmonton, Canada. But out of all of them, this recording from an unknown Spanish-speaking country is the clearest. These people are from around the world and obviously can't all know each other, yet each video is recorded between 2015 and 2016. I don't know if this is a warning, an experiment, or what, but I'm worried that one day we will find out. Some poltergeists are gentle, others are vicious. Published by Find Ghost in November of 2021. The uploader of this video writes, "Imagine coming home to this. Security footage captures a large and heavy-looking sofa flip forward onto its face unexpectedly. A moment later, a piece of glass is catapulted from a display in the corner. The glass launches across the room and hits a wall. Then something seems to be horseplaying with the camera itself. It is rolled around onto the floor, while yet another object appears to be on its way to falling over on it. The scary video cuts out before the object does, but I wonder what else this family came home to." This video is short and sweet and will leave you frozen in fear. Shared by Twitter user Casos Paranormales. No context has been shared, so let's just watch. Here's what I can collect is happening here. First off, the garbage scattered around the room is oddly unsettling. But this takes the cake. I'm not sure what's exactly happening in this video, but I do want to yeet it to the sun. Things are about to get creepy on this CCTV video taken from a restaurant somewhere in China. A man looks in the cooler and decides to help himself to something else. A while later, he takes a seat near a woman who's looking the other way. 26 seconds is when he looks over and then he goes for it, taking something in her jacket, probably a purse, and walking straight out the door. He's fumbling around for quite some time and likely has to undo a button or two to abscond with her belongings. If only she had turned around the other way, he would have been caught in person and not just on camera. For those of you who think this isn't a scary video, try getting stranded in another country with no passport, money, credit cards, or phone. That's a situation only for the brave if I've ever heard one. A YouTuber named Sarah Elizabeth brings some friends to search for ghosts at the Columbia State Park in California. When they start hearing weird noises, they think it could be an old water pump turning on, but I'm not so sure. So you tell me what this is.
45 degrees out. It was pretty cold. What is that sound?
Later, they are walking down a historic street when they get a bad feeling about one of the houses. These historic houses are empty, and no one has lived in them for quite some time. Check out the curtains here at the 10-minute mark. Notice how they are pretty much closed. Now look again, and 15 seconds later, you'll see they do appear to be open much wider this time.
Doesn't that curtain look like it's moving? Over there?
Finally, as they look out onto the old creepy street, their camera picks up this nearby growl. They don't seem to hear it until later, but tell me if you can. This dashcam video shows traffic moving normally across 4 unobstructed lanes, when out of nowhere a woman appears in front of a black pickup truck. She keeps walking to the other side like nothing is wrong. The black pickup truck definitely hits its brakes, and the car behind them does so as well, which seems like a realistic response. Then again, there's clearly a red stoplight up ahead, so maybe they were braking for that instead. I don't know why this video is void of color. I'm assuming it's because black and white video would take up less space on the dashcam memory card, but it's safe to say that only a ghost would be able to do what this woman does. This haunted home has visible spirits stalking about. Published by A Sip of Fear in January of 2022, an unsettling figure was captured in the glass during this paranormal investigation. After setting up some cameras in this haunted home, activity begins pretty quickly. A wardrobe door is captured opening and closing, and later a bang causes the paranormal investigator to jump out of his skin. In another room, a stationary camera captures a figure's reflection in the glass door of a shelf. And again, the wardrobe door opens and closes repeatedly. Is this spirit trying to tell us something?
What's the distance?
Or does she just want to be left alone? We've seen 30 East Drive here on Chills before. It's considered one of the most haunted places on Earth. This time, it's the Ouija brothers' turn to meet the evil entity that resides here.
You still want to contact us? It's a little knock.
That was definitely a knock. You can also hear it in the hallway.
If you still want to contact us? It's a little knock.
Later, while they're on the stairs, they hear another loud bump.
What was that? From where?
Gotta be with me.
It was in this. It felt like he was underneath.
They hear something again on the landing. Later, while they're all sleeping, their Steadicam captures more knocking. Others in the comments say they've visited 30 East Drive and heard similar noises. I'm not on the fence with this one. This place is haunted, and though the activity was subtle on this one, combined with other evidence of Fred the Ghost, I believe it. This entry is a double dose. The first video comes to us from YouTuber Black Cat in November of 2021. The cameraman is filming from outside a bedroom. At first everything is still and silent, then the wardrobe doors swing open and close. Plastic bags and other objects are all tossed out of it. They aren't tumbling out, they're literally being ejected. When the cameraman enters to investigate the wardrobe, you can see there is shelving that would prevent anyone of a normal size from hiding in there, out of view and throwing the stuff out. As the camera pans over the wardrobe, noise is heard from behind the cameraman, who jerks around to find a bunch of papers being dispelled from I'm not sure where. While this poltergeist mystery goes unsolved, let's turn to the next one. Published by Nikki McMillan in November of 2021, this security footage was captured at Nikki's workplace. Fine porcelain and glassware is encased in glass in the shop. Nobody is around. Then a solid frame decides to skydive from a shelf in the hallway. There's nothing behind the frame, and nothing on the shelf that would have caused it to spring overboard. A closer view of the shelf makes this all the more mysterious. Like the activity in the other video, the frame does not look like it just tumbled from the shelf. It appears as though it's being actively ejected. What witchcraft is at play here? Are these just random tumblings? Or are these entities actively poltergeisting? Franco TV is one of the few ghost hunters I've come across who isn't afraid to investigate solo. In fact, he prefers it. Charging into the middle of the action and staying put is his style. Rarely does he run. On September 7th, 2018, Franco TV goes to an abandoned house that's way out in the Florida forest. I can't tell you the exact location, but I can tell you the name, the Edison house. What's inside leaves him a sweat-soaked mess. The address is so secret that he had to track down some of the previous owners to find it, and since no one can stand living here for more than a few months, there were plenty of previous owners to choose from. It was accidentally built over a gravesite according to them, and that's all they will say because it's so cursed that just talking about it could possibly bring about years of misfortune. None of this concerns Franco enough to keep him from going inside. Through the condemned door is a trashed interior that fills the investigator with the type of dread that burns stronger with every step. Everything about it feels off and wrong in a way he can't explain.
So weird.
Past a crumbling kitchen is a small kid's room that feels colder than the rest of the house. And as he's reading but not adhering to the simple instructions on the wall,
Get out.
he hears the giggle of a child. The laughter comes from behind him, practically in his ear, and he turns against a wall with a mysterious red stain that looks like it's squirted out of someone's neck. Across from him, this witch-like face appears against the window. It's most visible at approximately 3 minutes and 12 seconds, eyes and all. Undeterred, he goes to where it was standing and looks inside the room he was just in. As he's doing this, the same face now regards him through a crack in the doorway at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. It doesn't look like it's part of the door, but I guess it could be. The upstairs is cramped and uncomfortably hot. Down the hall is a red handprint that could belong to a child, except it's too high up on the wall. Perhaps they were struggling with someone trying not to be carried into this room. As Franco stares into the room, dozens of comments point out this figure staring back out at him from within the closet, just like the far wall says. I couldn't really see anything at first, but when I did, I suddenly wished I didn't try so hard. Something's there. Franco doesn't spend much time in this room because he gets an especially bad feeling, but one thing I noticed was this jet black spirit orb float up towards him and disappear. That's not a bug. The anxiety he gets from the second floor is a little too much, even for him, and look what happens when he goes back downstairs.
I'm hearing all sorts of noises everywhere, and I don't have no cover at all, and I'm in the middle of the forest. So, that's kind of like one of the reasons why it's going to be a little bit weird for me, because I can't deal with that.
This just so happens to be one of the only times he films behind him, so maybe this part is set up. Anyway, this was back when a supernatural challenge called Charlie Charlie was popular, and so he decides to play around before calling it quits. He sets up 2 pencils and waits for the ghost to respond.
Is there anyone in this house right now? Is there anyone that's
I don't know about you, but I see no string.
Do you wish me to leave this area?
A closer look under the light at 9 minutes and 17 seconds shows that nothing is tied around the pencil at all. He follows its advice and goes outside. By now, Franco is soaked in sweat and still hearing movements that I don't think he's making up because they sound too far away, deeper in the forest.
And from there? From there, I'm gonna head home. After that, I'm done. I gotta get out of here.
Part of him wants to leave, but he knows he has to explore the surrounding property because it's where more spirits roam around their unmarked graves. While staring out into the wilderness, he hears them.
What the is that?
It's not traffic because there's no roads out here, and exactly 2 seconds later it's accompanied by a voice warning him never to return.
Holy
Advice that Franco TV decides to take as he walks away from the Edison house with the blank, horrified stare of a man who has been shown far too much. This Saudi Arabian YouTuber decided to do some urban exploring in 2018. The property looks long abandoned, and they are forced to explore only by flashlight. Despite the creepy feel of the place from the very start, the men brave it out and continue exploring. It starts to appear as though the men are being watched, and on multiple occasions they check their surroundings to make sure they are all alone. It turns out their instincts are correct, as they capture what they claim is a witch. It definitely appears to be someone dressed in all black robes, with their face fully covered. I believe someone might have actually been living on the property, and they wanted to scare them away. Or do you think the YouTuber was correct, and this was an actual witch? While streaming live at a New Orleans graveyard at night on February 8th, 2020, Franco TV encounters not the undead, but the living. In the beginning, he describes his first encounter with a man in the graveyard, explaining that he'd been warned that thieves in New Orleans like to come after people who explore the city's graveyards at night. He said he'd encountered this man twice already in this episode, explaining that the man was on foot, had a book bag and approached him, passed him, and then circled around while he was outside of his car walking through the mausoleum. He feels a bit shaky from this encounter and says he doesn't know if he's going to exit his vehicle again, but he follows his audience's risky advice and does anyway. As Franco is out, walking around the creepy stone grave solo, he starts to feel unsafe again, and after a time returns to his car. He is examining an above-ground crypt from his vehicle when he hears some footsteps. He continues to drive around the cemetery, saying he heard something from behind his car that sounded like a knocking. He says he can't get out of his car again because he thinks someone else is there. In fact, there he is. After turning around, Franco zooms in on a man walking toward him down the cemetery road. What is this man doing in a graveyard at night? Is he too live streaming for YouTube? It certainly doesn't look like it. Franco doesn't know what to do but continue to drive, passing the guy seemingly without issue. He speeds up, getting out of the graveyard as quickly as possible. As he tries to find the exit, he says the man was literally chasing after his car. He says he felt the man hit the back of it, and as he flees, explains that he must get out of there and find a safe place. He then warns viewers not to enter a New Orleans graveyard at night, as if we needed any warning after watching this. These friends are staying at a hotel when they see flashing lights coming from the bathroom mirror and hear rumbling noises on the other side. It sounds like a classic haunted hotel setting at first, but when they take the bathroom mirror and flip it around, they see two holes that look to me like someone was spying on them.
Scratches here and here that you can see directly through the mirror. Directly through.
But this situation gets way more intense than just a peephole. Much to their surprise and horror, there was also a rectangular hole cut into the wall leading directly into the next room over. Whoever cut this hole could literally climb through the wall anytime they wanted to, day or night. They could silently watch the group in the mirror to know when they were leaving, then climb through to mess with their stuff, or worse still, they would know when you were about to go to bed, and could enter while they were all asleep to do who knows what. I don't know how any of this ended, but I do know their lives could have been at risk if they didn't discover this in time. I think this situation is real, because I don't think they would destroy a hotel wall just to make a video. Hopefully they called the police and caught whoever invaded their privacy. This mysterious capture by YouTuber Gullian Rocher leaves me with many questions. Rocher explains in the description that she saw this strange man outside her window marking a tree.
Nakita niyo yung lalaki. Meron siya pinapahid sa puno. Tako lang tayo konti. Meron Doberman. Ano yung ginagawa niya sa puno?
The man can be seen doing something to the tree for a time before grabbing his dog's leash.
Yung tanong mo, anong inaano mo dyan sa puno ka?
After the stranger left, the YouTuber went to investigate.
So yan. Ano yung ginawa niya kanina rito?
It looks like the guy scraped the bark from one side of the tree, leaving a mark, but for what purpose is still unclear. I'm not sure where this video is filmed, but YouTuber BioCyber suggests that the strange man is a Russian sleeper agent marking a target. This is where my head went to, although I wasn't specifically thinking Russian. This may be a spy or agent marking this site for himself or other agents to later find. What do you think is going on here? A YouTube channel called DYP Official finds some kind of abandoned facility way out of the woods. One climbs to the top of a big blue container and sticks their head over the end, which is scary for reasons I'll get back to soon enough. Two other large vats grab their attention.
Found a whole thing of sulfuric acid in the woods. Sulfuric acid. Yo, please stop, bro, please. Bro.
He would have kept turning the release valve had they both not shouted at him to stop. I don't know if it was full, but if so, he would have been in deep trouble and might not have survived an acid spray. In the shed, they find a gas mask and large science beakers used to hold chemicals. One of the vials is still full, so they take it outside for a better look until their friend grabs it from them.
Crack. Boom!
Luckily for them, it doesn't break. Breathing in any unknown chemical, whether indoors or outdoors, could end up with them on the floor. Inside of an abandoned building, they find a label that got me curious. I googled what polyseed inoculum is, and the answer sheds light on what this facility really is. Basically, this is used to break down biological waste. They've been playing around in a biological waste treatment center the whole time, touching things that ordinarily require a full biohazard suit to handle. Whatever chemicals they were handling probably were not safe, and the air quality can't be much better. The type of place that could really mess you up after maybe a few visits. In other words, certainly not a place where you'd ever want to stick your face over an old chemical vat and take a big whiff. Forests at night are innately creepy, but this one just got creepier. Published in October of 2006 by the Ghost Hunter, she writes, "What appears to be a spirit moving amongst the trees in this surveillance video, taken by amateur ghost hunters. The footage shows a ghostly, transparent figure moving through the trees from the right side of the shot to the left, gliding amongst the trees. It then vanishes into the darkness. Many in the comments suggest the ghost is too tall and thus this video must be fake, but Ghost Hunter writes, despite comments on this, I would approximate that the apparition is about 6 feet tall, as the tree on the right is about 20 feet. What do you think this figure is? If not a ghost, then what? One thing's for sure, it's definitely something you should keep the lights on for. When you're arguing whether a shirt is red or maroon, the ghosts in your presence will know they've had enough of you two. Published to YouTube in May of 2020, this is what happens when a ghost gets fed up with your bickering, throws up his hands and storms out of the house he's haunting. The uploader explains that during their last visit to this place, they experienced the door slamming but didn't have a chance to record it, so this time they returned to capture it on film. This video is cut down to 3 minutes of the 50 that were recorded. The clip shows the boys arguing whether or not one of their shirts is red, before deciding to call it quits with the filming, since it had been nearly an hour. Just then, something clearly slams in the distance. The uploader says his friend thought it was the hinges of the door rather than a ghost, but decides that the video is proof it wasn't the hinges. He also claims that he and a friend saw a shadow person in this building as well. The uploader writes, something said that it could have been air in the last upload, but it wasn't sure. The thing, if it was air, it would have opened it. The air is coming from outside, so it would push out to open. Instead, what we call was a ghost slamming the door the opposite direction of where the air was coming from, so the force of the door slamming was going against the air. This was filmed in Harlingen, Texas, and there wasn't much airflow in the place according to the uploader. The group was sweating from so much stale heat. Well, maybe the ghost was too. Think you're seeing things when driving in the darkness of night? Your imagination hasn't run wild. You're not just tired. Something is in the middle of the road. Published by Yogesh Baba in January of 2017, this driver was making his bumpy way down a dirt road at night, rounding corner after corner, when he came upon a sinister figure. The drive itself is spooky, with trees all around and what looks like a roadside tombstone at one point in the journey. As the driver continues, you can see a small pale figure in the middle of the road from a distance. The driver approaches, slowing down more and more. That's when the hooded figure rises, moving out of the way without showing its face. While most in the comments doubt that this is a ghost, they're still wondering why a man is squatting at night in the middle of the road. None of this is normal. Prison. These prisoners are locked up for life and the afterlife. YouTube team Explore a Lot explores the UK's most haunted prison. Listen quietly. They hear a distant whistle.
No, it didn't. What the was that?
Shortly after, while doing the Estes method, you can hear a whisper of a response. Listen closely.
Did you die in this room?
A quiet voice says yeah. It sounds to me like the immortal prisoners here are on lockdown for eternity. Number 7. A Redditor named SteezySteve7 posted this work camera video of the creepy basement at his coffee store job. It's 1:45 in the morning when his boss receives a phone notification of movement down there. This is what tripped the motion detection equipment. That looks like it could be a ghost to me, but maybe it's also a piece of a spider web? This basement looks like it has plenty of them. Can someone let me know if spider webs can set off motion detection equipment? I think they probably could, in which case mystery solved. It's unusual for ghosts to appear in broad daylight, but apparently this one likes to play games. Published by Ganjam's Pride in October of 2017, a female ghost was caught on camera at the top of this tree. You can see the figure of the purported ghost perched on the branch. It's frozen still there, unmoving, and it's not clear why. YouTubers in the comments have their opinions. While some think it has a logical explanation, like an inflatable doll caught in a tree, others are 100% convinced this is a ghost. I suppose either might haunt you. This dog knows what's up. Published by Ghost Hunting Unique 0.4 in April of 2022. This dog is seen staring down the road. He then runs away without explanation. That's when this figure appears suddenly in the middle of the road. The figure later vanishes. But then this weirdo pops up, scaring a passerby. It's unclear what he wants, but he too vanishes after a moment. Later, another figure disappears as he's crossing the street. Is this just a road of no return? The Bermuda Triangle of pavement? Or is something else going on here? Something about railroad tracks at night is eerily haunting, and these creepy tracks are no exception. Published by Panic Attack Scary Videos in October of 2014. This scary video might make you have a panic attack. Located in Redo, Texas, these old-timey railroad tracks have a terrible history. According to urban legend, a railroad worker let a train take his life on these tracks a very long time ago, and ever since his ghost has been seen on occasion around midnight, hovering over the bridge carrying a lantern. The boys here are interested in seeing if the tales are true. After being chaotically through the woods by a wild boar, they fall onto the tracks. That's when they see it. A mysterious light is shining at a distance on the bridge, just as the urban legend said it would. It's too far away to be distinct. They say it looks like a ball of light, and they walk toward it. But as they approach, after a while it goes out, leaving them in darkness. Was it the railway man of legend? I guess we're left in the dark about that too. Exploring the Royal Arcade in Keighley in the UK, the YouTube team Staffordshire Paranormal Explorers encounters an abundance of paranormal activity. As they communicate with the spirits, they hear what sounds like a door moving.
We heard a dragging noise in here before, or possible footstep shuffling.
What was that?
They hear unexplained taps and knocks.
Got 2 knocks?
Yeah. It was like dun.
As they continue throughout the place, a disembodied whistle or whisper is heard.
Okay, spirits, we know you're here with us now.
And not long after, 2 thuds are heard.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Later, a distinct whistle sounds.
Heard a whistle then.
In my opinion, this place is creepy enough without all the whispers and whistles, but the paranormal activity really puts it over the edge. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.